So I'm speaking with Mato Woksape. You're a Native American activist. You were born and raised here in the Northwest. We're in Oregon right now. Now, I'd like to speak to you about several things, but you have an event coming up in September that has many important parts to it. Can you explain to our viewers what that event is first?
Yeah, I'm gonna unite indigenous peoples and their allies to protect the wolf in the style of ancient foot messengers. And it's gonna start in Portland, September 6th, and it's gonna have a dynamic ending over in Idaho, location gonna to be announced.
And we will keep our readers up to speed on that as it happens, and even be on site as much as possible. You know, I think there's some very important statistics to cite for people who have been raised in a country that pillaged the native culture but doesn't really talk about it very much. Talk to me about the numbers of indigenous people that were eliminated by the genocide brought here by the Europeans.
As far as I know, low ballpark figure is 150 million, and I've heard up over 200 million potentially.
Now, you've been in touch with your roots pretty much for your whole conscious life, haven't you? You were telling me about this last night.
That's correct, yes.
And even as far back as the sixth grade, you learned that political activism, especially when it's real, can be one of the only things that can actually bring a difference.
That's correct, yes.
Now, you have associations with people all over who have tremendous historic backgrounds. And recently, you were at Wounded Knee. Can you talk about Wounded Knee for a moment?
Wounded Knee, there's a legacy of resistance and people that a whole generation that was not humiliated because their ancestors decided to make a stand. It's pretty beautiful.
And the way that people are looking at it today, I mean, too much time has gone by and the eradication of the native culture doesn't cease. And this is why certain activists and warriors are really wanting to up the stakes a little bit, non-violently, but to bring attention. And you were telling me the other day that even in state parks, you receive a level of harassment just simply because you're Native American and you're living that way.
Yeah, it's an important reminder for the dominant culture that the effects of colonialism and white supremacy are daily, and that indigenous people are still displaced on a regular basis, and they are barred access to things like media.
Right, which is certainly a breakdown in all of this. In the 1970s, back when the second Wounded Knee event took place, there was a movie, Billy Jack. There were different ones that kind of gave people a different feeling, like that Americans really did support natives. Do you think there can be a resurgence of this? Do you think people can learn to adapt and be supportive?
Absolutely. I think that resurgence is ongoing currently as we speak.
Do you think most people in America understand the impact that this takes? I mean, do you think they understand the impact that this kind of ongoing thing represents for Native people?
I think more and more people are becoming aware of the fact that indigenous peoples have original instructions for living on Earth, and can give great insight into how to live sustainably, not only sustainably, but thrive on Earth, away from industrialism and all these things like capitalism that are devastating the planet and the peoples on it.
And activists for the Earth, environmental activists, and Native activists, I mean, there's an absolute correlation there, isn't there? Because Native people did not trash the planet.
It's coming down to the main focus is definitely environmentalism. So I don't believe that environmental problems are going to be solved without taking orders from indigenous people, taking a look at original instructions, taking a look at ancient stories, ancient ways of life that led to sustainable living.
You've told me about places you've gone, reservations in South Dakota that are just, the conditions today are just deplorable.
Yeah. Pine Ridge is the poorest place in the Western Hemisphere. Um, it's so bad that the dogs eat other dogs there.
Now, you are an advocate for the wolf, and I'm sure that that includes all wolves, but in particular, the wolf that was taken off the endangered species list. Is this what has powered you? Do I understand that correctly? To become such an advocate for wolves?
Yeah, the last few years of my life I've devoted to protecting the wolf. That's correct.
There's a big lack of understanding when it comes to the wolf and popular culture, isn't there?
Yeah, so as an indigenous person, the wolf was sacred to me. I don't know, as the totem animal of a few of my family members that I care for. Really close to my heart.
It's also been tough for you to get the word out on things, and I understand that. I also understand that Native cultures are somewhat, tight-lipped and closed about sharing information because anybody who's been burned more times and had more treaties violated than the Native people, I don't know. But you agree with me, I think, that there does need to be some type of a fusion between media and Native culture, and that's the key maybe toward raising awareness.
Absolutely. I spoke earlier about being denied access. That's one of the biggest things that settler culture, people in a position of privilege, maybe they have more resources, could do to reverse white supremacy that has led to the silencing of frontlines indigenous activists like myself, the invisible warrior, Mato Woksape.
Well, I appreciate your time today. Again, this event that's coming up in September, very important for the wolf.
Yeah, check it out. It's Wolf Walk and Gathering 2014. There's a Facebook event for it. We're going to unite the tribe, so keep an ear out.
We'll put all those links on the story. I appreciate your time today.
Thank you.